one of the most cherished moments.
What I would give to have my dad walk me down the aisle. This became very emotional. Hello everybody, welcome back to our channel.
I'm Will.
My name's Morgan.
I'm Swedish.
I am American.
And we live together in Sweden right now. Address unknown.
Go watch the video. I need to apologize about something. I'm pretty sure I've worn this turtleneck the last 6 videos that we've done.
It's okay.
Always wanted to try that. I just feel better in a black turtleneck. What can I say? And weekday just has nice essentials.
It's okay. Speaking of weekday, do you know what we're going to talk about today? We're talking about the difference, the complication, the cultural shock of dating an American as a Swede.
What does that have to do with weekday?
You had never heard about weekday before you met me.
Okay, starting over. I have my mouth shut. Welcome to tea time. Oh, we haven't done this in a while.
Yeah, sit down video. We've been on the fly, on the go.
Everything's been like real time happening. Today we have an exciting video for you. It's an exciting video for me as well because I literally have no idea what you're going to say. This is really your narrative and you are going to tell us what it's like to date an American. So I am just gonna sit back and listen to what you have to say.
First of all, I'm just gonna preference this, that people in Sweden, and Europe for that matter, have very different opinions about America and Americans. Some people you meet, they're like, oh, very nice. Or
some people, like the guy we bought a table from yesterday, he asked where I was from, and I said America. He said, I'm sorry. I can't help where I'm from, and I can say a lot of things here, but we're gonna choose the path of least resistance and hand it back over to you.
Starting off, dating an American. What is different than dating a Swede?
How many Swedes did you date before you dated me?
Not very many. In adult age, not very many. I lived in London for my university years and I was dating and together with Scots and Brits and Dutch. Like, I wasn't together anytime with a Swede. So like, I don't know what Swedes really are to date in many ways since I was in high school. But I think all of these things still fit into the narrative. Number 1, not speaking the same language natively.
Oh my gosh. Let me just tell you, it is a massive struggle that we deal with in our relationship.
I was about to say that it's not that big of a deal for us, but...
I'm kidding, but sometimes there's a language barrier.
I just think sometimes I start saying something with an intention and you will just give me a look, but I had no intention of saying what I was about to say in the way I did, and I just chosen one word wrong or like had weird intonation or something, and it's the same way as you talking to me sometimes. I'm like, excuse me? And you're like...
Sometimes there's just like a blank stare. Like, what are you trying to get across? Actually, a lot of times this happens. Not saying that we're having like any sort of communication problem.
From me or from you?
I think both ways. Like, you'll start to talk about something and I'll be like, what are you saying? Or what are you referring to? What are you talking about?
Basically, it's hard sometimes when you speak different languages. We're very lucky because I've lived in London for so long and my English is actually quite okay, I would say.
My English is impeccable, I thought you were gonna say.
That would have been cocky.
You have pretty good English. I'm gonna have to give you credit on that one.
Tying this together with the next point is the fact that a lot of my vocabulary and a lot of the terms I use on an everyday basis are British and not American. So I think for the most of the beginning of our relationship, you had a lot of question marks when I said stuff, like when I used different terms that were like British slang or like North London slang.
I disagree. I think I could always...
Look at this one. She disagrees, which is okay. That's important in a relationship. Disagree and agree.
Because it always makes sense what you're saying, but sometimes I have to call you out on it and question what you are actually saying, because if it's something I've never heard before, then I would like the translation, and sometimes I also just like getting the explanation from you.
Fair enough. I think a lot of my intonations and thought process is British because I lived a lot of years in London. I was about to say a couple of years, but then this one here would have corrected me because she has taught me that a couple equals 2, a few equals 3, and then I don't know what you would say.
I would say a few is 3, but some people would argue and say a few is like 3 to 5. But you used to say a couple about like 7. That's not how it is. We're a couple. 1, 2.
Yes, we are a couple. And I think this ties together with a lot of things that I would say or how I would start sentences. Sometimes just wasn't correct, and she would correct me, which I'm eternally grateful for.
I choose my times to correct you. I don't think it's always necessary to correct you every single time you say something wrong, but I will correct you every once in a while because you've told me that you want me to correct you so that you can learn. But I don't just want to be correcting you all the time because I think you have great English, and sometimes I think you will translate things from Swedish directly to English. So you structure the sentence in the way that you would say it in Swedish, but you say it in English.
And you go, I get what you mean, but that's not how you say it.
I say that to you a lot.
Which is fine.
But sometimes I just don't say anything. Like today on your Instagram story.
The truth comes out. The truth comes out.
But it was like nice and inspirational, and so I didn't want to call you out on it. But now I guess I'm calling you out on it. Now I have to look. I have to look what I said.
This is embarrassing. I was even promoting Lewis, one of our friends, because he's a really good singer.
Okay, you posted dreams doesn't become reality if you don't work for them.
So you're talking about that I should have said dreams doesn't become your reality unless you work for them.
No, that still wouldn't work. I would say dreams don't become reality if you don't work for them.
So doesn't work with dreams.
Doesn't work in that sentence.
Yeah.
I can't really tell you why right now, but it just
It's okay. We've had this with Swedish where I've like tried to tell her something about grammar and I have no idea how to tell her.
I ask you why something is the way it is and you legit can't give me an answer. You will be like, I have no idea.
Yeah.
Which I get annoyed about, but I guess I shouldn't because I can't tell you why you would say don't/doesn't there.
We got it on tape, people. She can't be mad about it anymore.
But I'm trying to think of an example. What do I know?
Moving on. Cultural references. I cannot tell you, people, how many times Morgan has said something in the line of, oh, it's just like this TV show, or what did you make yesterday? You turned to me and you said, have you tried Butterfingers?
Butterfinger is a candy bar in America. It's like a typical candy bar.
And I had never tried it. But those moments will happen a lot when you're dating or together with someone from a different country because their cultural like reference horizon or whatever you call it.
You may just never have any idea what the other is talking about.
It was like when we tried American snacks and candy and you were like, oh, I love these, I've had these, and I was literally looking at them like, what are those?
But I think a lot of those were like, it reminded me of my childhood, so
Yeah.
that's why I said I love them. Not necessarily because I really love the way fruit roll-ups taste.
Fair enough. Fair
Whereas you
enough.
thought I was literally feeding you saran wrap.
It looked like saran wrap.
You just have these on the top of your head, don't you? You're not really reading
Oh,
anything, or...
I've written them down, and as we're going, I'm coming up with more things. Like I just came up with 2 more that I'm gonna mention now.
Hit me.
Age references or like school references. It's actually
Oh my
really
gosh.
hard when you're talking to someone from America. Actually, since we got to Sweden, when you're supposed to talk about like, is it high school? Is it college?
Totally
is it
different.
university? So hard in...
I still don't know your school system. I still don't get it, and I don't think you understand mine.
But it's like you have high school in Sweden until you're 16, and then you go into something called gymnasium, which I would refer to as college. I say college, and then I say that you go to university after you're 18.
That's not what I say.
Exactly. You see the discourse here?
We go to high school until you graduate to go to college. So until you're like 18, you go to high school and then you go to college.
Yeah.
College is university.
I thought they were separate.
No. Also, you guys start kindergarten when you're like 6 months old. We don't go to kindergarten until we're 5 or 6. We go to preschool first.
Yeah.
When you start preschool, it depends on your parents, I guess.
The entire school system is very different. And also me even being in school right now, I'm studying a distance degree, which is totally free. So that's also very strange to talk to Americans about.
That's
my
just
life.
how it is, and then I pay my entire life back in taxes. Moving on!
What I realize a lot when it comes to you and me is that you are very set. I say, oh, it's a block away. I don't really think like it's an actual block away. I'm just like, oh, it's roughly a block away.
You guys.
But Americans, they like are very strict.
A block away. That is from this street to the next street. That is 1 block, period. This is the same thing as like a couple or a few or, okay, if you will take me to the city and I'll be like, where are we going? Or what restaurant are we going to? And we'll park and I'll say, is it close? And you'll say, oh, it's a block or two away. A means 1. 20 minutes later, we'll still be walking and I'll be like,
what happened to the block?
A block was like 10 minutes ago. Swedish people can walk for days. I don't know what it is, if it's just in your blood or who you are as people. It's not that I hate walking. I'm grateful that I can walk. You know, I actually really enjoy walking.
Nature and...
Yeah, I appreciate being on land. Yeah, like you said, being able to go in nature and go on walks. Okay, I don't really need to walk for like 3 hours a day.
I just think like I'm brought up going for walks. I'm brought up with what we in Sweden call långpromenader, which basically means long walks. And
long promenade.
Långpromenad.
Kelly's snoring. It's probably a good thing that they're like that. I just like to drive.
That's
another thing. Oh my god.
Bring up.
I don't want to be speaking for you, so please confirm or deny, but most Swedes are very much for the environment. So am I. I want to protect the environment that we live in. However, I grew up as a pilot's daughter, and a lot of Swedes are against flying.
I don't think they're against flying per se. I think there's been a hot debate about domestic flights in Sweden because, as you can tell, you could take trains very easily, but also just like I think the mentality in Sweden is if you can take a bus or like public transport, why would you own a car or why would you need a car? I have friends who are late 20s and they don't have a driving license, which I don't think would happen in the US. Like there's not a lot of people who doesn't have a driving license in the US.
No, not really. We grow up just conditioned that you get your permit when you're 15, you get your license when you're 16. Some people will take a little bit longer time with it, give or take.
She said in the beginning of this episode that I was gonna talk a lot, but I feel like this has also been a nice venting moment for you.
Listen, I have to protect myself.
Actually, this last one is something that I found so freaking weird before I met you, but then became one of the most cherished moments of my life, having a conversation with your dad about getting his blessing. I'm like brought up in this feministic, equal country and family, and I was like, I'm not buying a cow off the market. Why am I having to like ask someone for the permission to marry them or ask them to marry them?
Yeah, you fought with me on that one for a long time. It's not necessarily about my rights as a woman. I know it's a very old school thing to ask for the blessing of the father, and a lot of people in America might be on your side with that, but for me it was more just like letting my dad in on the plans. I don't know, it's more of just a conversation like, look, I want to spend the rest of my life. It's more like getting his approval.
Also like a respect thing where you're like, listen, I love your daughter, I'm gonna take care of her for the rest of my life, and I just would like to, first of all, share that with you, that that's my intention. Hopefully you agree, and hopefully you think that I'm okay.
I think it's built up more than it really ends up being. I think it's just a beautiful thing for you to have that conversation, and it ended up being a really beautiful thing for you to have that conversation with my dad, and I'm glad that you see that now.
It became one of the best moments, like one of the most beautiful moments I had with your dad. For me, it means the world.
I think that's a big difference when it comes to Swedes and American. I can't speak for the rest of the Europeans or how it is in other countries. You guys walk down the aisle together.
Some people walk down the aisle together. Some people walk down the aisle, like the bride will walk down herself. I don't know. I've only been to like a few weddings, so I shouldn't be an authority on the subject, but I don't think it's very common that the dad walks down the aisle.
What I would give to have my dad walk me down the aisle, it's just like perspective, I guess.
It does give you perspective.
This became very
It is beautiful that two cultures get to come together, and there are moments or days where we will, like we said, have a disconnect and look at each other and don't understand each other due to the cultural difference.
But we also very much exist on the same wavelength. So even if I don't understand you, I feel like I always understand you. But did you, when we first started dating, ever think it was going to be a problem to be with an American?
Oh, 100%. 100%. I was like, crap.
I'm glad you didn't even have to think about that.
No, I think it's mostly been a blessing that I've been together with someone from a different culture, and it's been fun to date someone from America.
You do have to figure out the logistics of things when you're in a relationship with somebody from a different country. That doesn't give you a lot of time to like date for years and years and years and just take it slow and step by step. You really do have to kind of talk about the future and what your goals are individually, what you see happening for the relationship, because if you're not going to do that, it's a waste of your time.
But it's also give and take.
It's, yeah, you have to make sacrifices for each other. You've sacrificed time and work coming to America to spend with me, and I've sacrificed the same coming here to spend with you. Not everybody's willing to do that. Ultimately, I think it's a beautiful thing to be with somebody from another country, and I think we've learned a lot. I still say often that I'm surprised how well we work together, coming from such different backgrounds and different cultures, different parts of the world.
I think that's more to do with who I am as a person and who Morgan is as a person, rather than what countries we are from or what cultures that have molded us.
Thank you guys for watching another video of ours.
Have a great week. Take care of each other.
We'll see you next time.
Hey, no.
Bye.
What? How are you feeling?
That's a lie. And I'm not done.
Like I have desecrated your most holy memory.
I feel like I always look like an Oompa Loompa. I hope this recorded.